A major escalation here in the exploding feud between Trump and Musk amid the budget bill drama. So after Elon Musk tweeted on Monday night that he would fund primary opponents to anybody who would vote for Trump's budget bill, and then threatened to start a new political party that would ostensibly draw voters from the GOP, Trump responded, taking to Truth Social and writing, "Elon Musk knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It is ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everybody should be forced to own one. Elon may get more subsidy than any human being in history by far, and without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a good hard look at this." Big money to be saved. And now Elon Musk knows exactly what so many other Americans have felt when they've been on the receiving end of threats by the very person Elon helped gain power. And for Musk, it's not just against his business empire, but his very freedom in the United States of America. Trump is essentially saying that he's going to use Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, that Elon himself ran to investigate and potentially eliminate the very subsidies that keep Elon's companies afloat. In other words, Trump created a department, put Elon Musk in charge of that department, and is now threatening to use that same department to destroy Elon's livelihood, showing the extent to which he's not just willing, but proud, openly admitting that he'll weaponize the federal government for his own partisan political vendettas. Just in case you were wondering whether or not he'd do that kind of thing, I think you just got your answer. It's worth reiterating here that Elon Musk didn't just endorse Trump. The guy literally bought Twitter for $44 billion and turned it into Trump's personal megaphone. He hosted Trump's rallies. He spread election conspiracy theories on Trump's behalf. He pumped $250 million into getting Trump elected president. And Trump's response here? The moment Elon shows even the slightest dissent or pushback, Trump threatens to destroy his entire business empire and kick him out of the country altogether. And I gotta say, it sure is out of character to see Donald J. Trump attack somebody who used to be a close confidant. Other than Ronna McDaniel, Michael Cohen, Gordon Sondland, Rex Tillerson, Mike Pompeo, Kayleigh McEnany, George Papadopoulos, Christopher Wray, and Mike Pence, just to name a few, who could have possibly guessed that he would discard an otherwise close ally the moment they lost their political usefulness to him. Truly one of life's great mysteries. So if you're wondering why this matters beyond just billionaire drama, it's because this is exactly how authoritarians operate. They demand absolute loyalty, total fealty, and the second somebody steps out of line, even somebody who's helped them gain their power, they get the full authoritarian treatment. Today it's Elon Musk, tomorrow could be any business leader, any governor, any judge who doesn't toe the line perfectly. Just ask Brad Lander and Alex Padilla and LaMonica McIver and Mayor Baraka and Judge Dugan. This wasn't a bug for Trump, it is a feature. The same guy who spent years complaining about the weaponization of government is doing it right now in real time, and to a greater extent than we've ever seen before. But here's the thing that's even more chilling. Trump is also making not-so-subtle threats about Elon's citizenship status. When he says that Elon should head back home to South Africa, he's not just talking about business. He's talking about a naturalized American citizen potentially being forced to leave the country. And if you think that feels like an overreach for someone like Donald Trump, remember that he's already signed executive orders trying to end birthright citizenship and has talked extensively about mass deportations, which he's carrying out right now, even in some cases, like in Los Angeles, with the help of the U.S. military. So just like his threats to use the government to wage economic warfare on his enemies, he's also putting on full display that he's willing to use the tools at his immigration disposal to hurt his enemies as well. Frankly, I'm unconcerned about Elon Musk, but think about what this represents more broadly. It is all the proof you need that Donald Trump will weaponize the government and abuse all of his powers to harm people who he either has a personal or political vendetta against. Now, in terms of the implications for Elon's business here, Tesla has benefited enormously from federal EV tax credits and clean energy subsidies. SpaceX has billions in NASA contracts and Defense Department deals. If Donald Trump does follow through on his threats, he could genuinely cripple Elon's companies, which is not to say that Elon doesn't deserve it because he's no saint either. Remember, Musk is trying to frame himself as some fiscal conservative in all of this, but the reality is that he is just as full of shit as Trump is. He had full range of government with Doge, And instead of going after the biggest purveyor of waste, fraud, and abuse, which would be the Pentagon, failed 7 audits in a row, he went after USAID, which accounts for all of 0.5% of the federal budget, but which was investigating him and Starlink. He went after the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is actually a net positive for American consumers who've been defrauded by banks and predatory financial institutions, but would have had oversight onto him and his ex-payment processor. He went after agencies like the Department of Labor, the National Labor Relations Board, the EPA, all agencies that had direct oversight or regulatory authority over him and his companies. In other words, he had the perfect opportunity to actually eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, his stated mission, and instead squander that opportunity helping himself and his bottom line. The guy is not some champion for fiscal conservatism. He is a greedy kleptocrat who looked out for literally one person when he had free reign of government. So it's pretty rich that he is once again presenting himself as this white knight when he is exactly the kind of self-dealing fraud that he pretended to want to curb. The reality is that if Donald Trump is willing to do this to the richest man in the world, somebody who literally bought him a social media platform and spent $250 million getting him elected president, what exactly do you think he's going to do to regular Americans who dare criticize him? What's he going to do to journalists and activists and anybody who doesn't show sufficient loyalty to dear leader? This isn't just about Donald Trump's lack of loyalty or his willingness to bite the hand that feeds him. This is about a president who views the entire federal government as his personal weapon to be used against anybody who crosses him. And if we don't recognize that for the authoritarian behavior it is, we are going to wake up in a country where dissent isn't just discouraged, it is criminalized. Now, Elon did write back, responding to a tweet describing Trump's threats and writing, "I am literally saying cut it all now." He then responded to another tweet that said SpaceX's revenue is more than NASA's budget, and cutting EV subsidies would actually be better for Tesla. Go on, Trump, pull your stunt, get humiliated, and beg Russia to bring your astronauts back, by writing 100 and a laughing emoji, which means that Trump is probably going to respond to Elon and this feud is going to erupt even further. But it's important for all of us to remember here that for as corrupt and abusive as Trump is being, that the reason this was made possible in the first place is because of the target of Trump's ire. No one's hands are clean here, and no matter what happens, both of these people, both Trump and Elon, are to blame.